hello there. Okay, time for another stream. I've been sick all day long, all the holidays from Sylvester to from Christmas to Sylvester. But let's not keep that. Let's not keep us that from doing great stuff. And hey, actually, we have a cat. Okay. Oh no, not. One of the cats is moving up there to adjust the camera a little bit, but then we can see the hair. Wait a second. So we can see actually one of the cats. It looks like she's not going to stay there. Sometimes we are fortunate. No, not today. Not today. But yeah, whatever. Let's get going. And hey, I didn't talk about one thing. What kind of stuff to do in the new year? What kind of wishes can we have? Well, for me, it's just to be strong, to keep going, and to maybe be even more effective with my time. And there's some kind of philosophy that I can quote for that, and that is Marcus Aurelius, actually. So let's first go on and pick the right screen while I start digging too deep into philosophy and start coding. I will maybe tell you later what I was thinking about that. But first let's get going, because time is precious, and if we don't do the stuff that we actually want to do, just coding here, and do this slope function, then we miss a great chance to actually make this a great game. And that's more important than talking about philosophy right now. And let's say if I can manage to pull this off, this function that I will talk about, then I will tell about then I am allowed to tell a little bit of more thoughts. Now let's focus. Okay, so let's go and play. And also did pick a lot of new music when I was just having a little bit of time in my free time, like 2 hours after working, cleaning up my room and everything. So now we have some gaming metal, which was always a big dream of mine. Have it in the stream, but actually it takes a lot of effort to pick up the playlist. You just don't only have to pick up the music, you also have to make sure that that you can read the title. You can read the title at the top left, but that needs to be adjusted. And not every title is perfect now. On this title here, it's missing the source. You can just find them on YouTube if you Google that. So there's still some work to be done there, but most of them should be okay. I also did cut the ending, because I just picked them up from YouTube and cut out the ending that often is in there. Yeah, so a lot of stuff to do there. So let's go on and look at this function here. Now he's supposed to not fly. When we go up here, he flies at the end. It's not supposed to happen. And here, that's also not supposed to happen. He's supposed to go down smoothly. To stick to the ground here. And we see that he's not sticking to the ground. And there's also a problem, because I commented out some code testing reasons. So let's look what we did there. So why is he staying in the ground? It's because basically when we are on the slope, we give the character a lot of drag, and that drag is going to keep him forever there in place. It's going to fall down very slowly, but you might have to wait 5 minutes or so until he reaches the ground. And for testing, we won't do that. So this is actually just because we are this is work in progress, and once we finish our code, we will put the drag again to 0. So you can maybe look, where did we actually edit the drag? Like here, when it's like when we are not on a slope here, you can see that there's stuff happening. And right now we messed up with the slope detection, testing reasons, and that's why the drag right now is just a mess. And don't think to I'm not going to think about that too much, because it's not important yet. So we have this function here, detect slope state. And now I remember, this is where we left off. And what this is doing is we have 3 detectors at the ground of the feet of the character, and our first approach was just to pick these 3. If one of them detects ground and the other 2 don't, then he's probably on the slope, and it works reasonably well. When we are standing on a slope, he's actually standing still there. Let's try that out. I think it's like this. This is what it does. Now normally he would have no drag, and then he will just fall down very fast. But basically this is doing that he's on this slope. Like you can read the angle underneath him. With the health bar. Doesn't seem to work when he's going up though. I think he has to be in the air or it won't work. Seems to be kind of buggy. Sometimes it updates or not. But basically what you can see in the health bar right now is the angle of what is on the ground underneath the character. Now I can't move him. But let's just stop him for now. Okay. Oh, what's going on here? I think we are somewhere here, and actually we just return. I think it goes into these functions and just returns without updating the slope state, and that's why it's kind of messy. Pretty sure that it has something to do with that. So let's go and see. So right now, if we are in the air, yeah, okay. So we can only detect the ground underneath the character if we are in the air. That's how it works. So if we are in the air, we can set these three slopes here, floats, to kind of say what we want to detect underneath the character. And I think it will always, when the character has something on his feet, will always go into this kind of loop here, and then just return. So it will not change the slope state. That's the major issue here. So first, let's maybe change that. Oh, Dino0040. Hi. Hello again. So, you're back. I see the Illuminati are watching me again. So, actually I am starting right again where I left. Just today I have a little bit more time.
Here the voice chat is working now.
No, I'm actually I'm muting the voice chat often. I'm just leaving the voice chat on when I'm coding, and sometimes because nobody cares about coding on Twitch, sometimes I code for hours and nobody's going to say a thing, and then you basically don't look at the chat, and that's where I miss a lot of comments. Is it set to German or is it that bad? Wait, I can unmute it. I think it's set to German. I did set it to English though, but I think it reset itself. Yep, that's German. That's the. I can actually show it. There's nothing in here that I can't show. There's no personal information that I need to hide from you. Yep, it says Microsoft EDA Germany. Because it detects I'm from Germany, and basically it thinks that I'm working in German then. And I can just set it to a lot of German choices, or normally I've set it to Microsoft Zero Disk.
You didn't say it intentionally, it would be hilarious day.
It would be, but I actually have problems understanding the voice then. Even though when you set it to German,
no,
it's kind of trolling. That's like that old trolling feeling. Period. I really love that. Okay. I still have a little bit of sneeze, but well, that will go away. So what does this say? Expression is always null. Results. I don't think this is always null, because this is the output. This is out results. I think this is not always null. But I have to initialize it. Yeah. Now here's
gotta feed in an array with at least as many object places as you expect to hit.
But I don't know how many objects will be in there. And it's kind of impossible to know. I think that's everything, but that's definitely not dynamic. Let me look that up. So if I...
Now you know why the same function exists with a list parameter p.
Oh yeah, so let's work with the list. What is... Oh, come on. How was it defined? Like this list? Yeah. Put it inside. It still says it's always null, but I think we can kind of ignore that. Okay. So shortest distance 999. Okay, it will pretty much always be bigger than this. Actually, there's a cool trick we can do here. Because we know we are not detecting more than this length here.
Nope, you still have to initialize it yourself.
Okay. So this is going to be a new list. Okay. That should fix it. But how do you do that with an area
good.
then? I'm really confused how you do that with an array and just with your expectation. And what if there's something going wrong and will never match your expectation, and then you have some kind of weird error issues where you have too many objects that go in there, and I don't know. Okay, so
the function will return at max array length elements.
Okay. So in that case, I think the list is always going to be more effective. Okay, so we check the results and we check for the shortest distance.
The list creates garbage for the garbage collector.
Well, yeah.
Fine most of the time, no worries, D.
Yeah. I actually don't think that it's a big difference. Now, at least of course the data structure is just bigger. You have I don't think know how it if this is optimized very well, but basically how you learn it in university, this is a class structure where you put in results and do some stuff, and anyway is just most of the time just going to beat that because you know exactly how much space in your memory you have to allocate. But nowadays, if you don't do this every frame, we actually do. But if it's not absolutely important that this is very effective, it's not going to hurt. Oh, we are not doing this every frame. We are only doing it in the one frame when we are not grounded and we were grounded. Yeah. So yeah, this is definitely going to be insignificant in that case. So we then try to find the shortest distance. I think this is defined somewhere outside of the function. Yeah. But why? Oh no, this is not what I'm talking about. This is defined outside of the loop, and this is the shortest distance that we detect. If this is smaller, then we set it. Okay, we will just find the shortest distance here. Pretty standard stuff. And now we have to determine what to do then. Now we have the shortest distance. What now? We should save this result too. So let's save that waycast hit to D. shortest result. And do we have to save that? Yeah, initialize that. I don't know. So, oh, we can write an if clause here. But if we don't have any results, if results dot length count is equal to 0, then we didn't hit anything, and probably there's just nothing underneath us, and we would fall down forever. So in that case, we're definitely not on a slope. Then we return. But first we can say we're definitely not on a slope. Yeah. Okay. So then shortest result should always be set. Now, in this case, there should always be something in the result. And let's just set this to be the first result. Can we do this? Yeah, we can do this. Just like with an array. Just to be sure that if we have a bug in here, because sometimes I do something stupid, that we always have that this is not just null. We don't have to check that again. So now we have the shortest result, and then we actually do the slope detection. So this is the angle. We can then detect. And instead of head, we can write shortest result. It should be the same. This. And we don't need this waycast anymore. So now we do it with, as we said, with the widget body. We cast down the box collider. And we don't need this waycast anymore, or do we? Not really. We could leave it in there for maybe some kind of optimization, like first do a waycast and then a whole body cast. But in most cases, there is definitely going to be something underneath us, and we want to do some stuff. So I don't see that this is going to be important anymore. So let's go on and just delete that. And we will have to readjust the code here. And also this has to be done in the end. So this is the slope angle. And we set the health to be at slope angle +1. For now. Okay. then we want to pretty much just check, is this slope angle inside of our range. So if we are in this range, we just want, now we want to put down the character and say we are on a slope. We actually are on a slope. The only bad thing about this is because I think something, the slope angle will always be positive because it's returned positive. We don't actually know if we are on an upwards or downward slope. That's kind of bad for our case here. Maybe we'll have to look into that. Is angle always going to return positive? Get the unsigned angle. In degrees from and to. Can we get the assigned angle? I don't think so. Let's look into that. Oh, not really.
Guess what the method for the signed angle is called? Kappa.
Signed angle. Really? Really? But I really thought it would be vector 2 angle, and you would optionally have a third boolean just signed or unsigned. But guess what? Yeah. So yeah, that's great. So we actually do have an easy method to just check this angle signed. Okay, we have the slope angle and it will be signed. And we need to kind of look into some of these functions here, because it only the sign only matters here in the end to detect if we are on an upwards or downward slope. In all the other cases it doesn't really matter. And for the health we can't have a negative health, so here now we have to avoid math apps. I'm not really sure. You should use the Unity math app or the C# one. I think it doesn't really matter. Like, let's just use the Unity one. It maybe is there for a reason. Even though I don't think that they are able to code this any more efficient than the guys of Microsoft. I think they are both probably going to do pretty much the same. So here I also want to work with the absolute value, and then we can just use the sign if math sign slope angle, if this is think it's -1, 0, or 1. And I think this is going to be then. Okay, now if we have this slope, it's only a downward slope. If we are facing in that direction, that's kind of interesting. Like, oh yeah, no, not if we are facing. It doesn't matter what we are facing. It matters where our velocity is pointing to. So if our velocity is pulling us into this direction, then we should go down the slope. If it's in the other direction, then it's an upward slope. Okay, so if slope angle is 1, then we need to say yeah, what do we need to say? It's -1, and our rigid body velocity is positive. X velocity. So what then? Okay. So, but I don't. I'm not going to mirror this now for the stream. But now this we're pointing into this direction with our velocity. This is. What is this? Is this positive or negative? I think this is a positive angle. This is a negative angle. So then this is a downward slope. Okay. Now there's a second case with the opposite. If it's into this direction, if the angle is positive, but we are having a negative velocity, and it's also a downward slope. Put this into brackets. I don't even know if the brackets do anything in this case. I think it's going to oh no, they do anything. It's first or then and. Okay, so this is going to detect downward slopes. Now let's go for else if math sign is 1. Oh wait, I forgot to do this the other way around. So if this is -1, but we have a negative velocity, basically now we have just to go for the cases that we do have left over. Or this is those two are both positive, and then it's an upward slope. And else, and that would be if math sine slope angle is 0, then it's going to be not on a slope. Then we are not on the slope. but it rarely is going to be 0, because right now we're working with a float, and most of the surfaces look flat, but because they're mostly auto-generated, I did put most of them to a flat angle by hand, but sometimes I just put them in there and they worked, and I'm not sure if I did flatten every slope, so sometimes it's going to be slightly up or down, and it's still, it's not technically flat, but for the user it's in practice it's flat, so it's going to be 0.125 whatever. So we have to kind of take that into account. So if slope angle, if maybe we should do that first. Yeah, if we are flat, let's do that first. Or we could also make this into a switch case. No, I don't know. I think it's fine with if clauses. So if math apps slope angle is smaller than 1. And that's pretty much flat, and we're not on the slope. Now comes the part where we have lifted off. We need to put the character to that point and draw position dot y. No, we have to set the whole position. Going to be a new vector free. Put in the old values. X, and that is going to be the same. Put in the y of the result. Shortest result. And we keep the z value. Oh, come on. Position.z. I think it wants me to optimize with repeated access. We can do that later, because this is pretty much still going to change. Okay, then we are doing this and return. Oh, I've forgotten something. Yeah. It's never going to go into this if clause, because it's between those two angles. So let's write a comment here, because this is a little bit confused. Flat ground.
That will place you inside the ground, won't it?
No. Yes. It will place you inside the ground. Yes. You're right. Okay. So we need to adjust this. Let's just maybe write a float new y position. And now we do what? Well, my cat is trying to eat my nuts. It sounds weird, but actually have nuts here. And they just see that there is some
the
kind.
Nice lady won't read my links.
Wait a second. Oh, I can't do anything about that. But I think I have to enable the tool. Oh, I can't do anything about that. It just got censored. No, I think my mod tools are not on. No, I can't do anything about that. That's odd. Oh, I have to allow links.
Just look up Raycast hit 2DS Centroid then.
Really? Wait. Centroid of the primitive used to perform the cast when Waycast hit 2D is returned from line or waycasting, the centroid is identical to the return point property. However, when using cast method that use geometry shape as opposed to a simple point, such as circle or box casting, which are kind of doing, the centroid is the center of the respective shape when it is in contact with the return point. So the centroid is useful in determining the position the cast shape should be for it to collide with the contact point. Okay, yeah, okay, that's pretty useful because I was just thinking like, hey, now we have to calculate that point. Actually, there's a good way around it. So
never used it with a rigid body 2D, but worth a try. D.
Yeah, let's just if the character is inside the ground now, then yeah, it's pretty much not correct. But whatever, we can just try. Okay, let's just look at this last bit here. Now we go out of this and always say not on a slope. Why? Okay, we were not grounded. We were grounded, but are not grounded. And yeah, then if all of this fails to detect anything, then we are pretty much not on a slope. However, yeah, there's still stuff that kind of feel odd. But let's say if we have this kind of angle, then all of this has to fail because this is bigger than the max angle, and then it will go through all of this, do nothing, and say we are not on a slope. Now there's one problem here. This line of code has to be copied and put inside of this, and this is bad because we are pretty much doing the same thing twice. So if you wanted to, no, we will optimize this later. Let's just try it out first. Let's just try it out. But we will still have to optimize this. We cannot leave this as it is. Because
grounded is deadlocked, isn't it?
Was grounded is deadlocked? No. If we go through all of this, wait. Yeah, it's deadlocked. Huh? Yeah, it's deadlocked. And Yeah, let's just say whatever you do then. Next frame, you will have done your stuff here, and what's grounded is just put it to false, please. Yeah. So if you were grounded, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Put it to the beginning. So we'll do this just one time and we'll be over. It doesn't work. Kind of. I think it fails sometimes. But it's a pretty good start. Sometimes it fails to detect the right angle. And we have this kind of weird jitter. We can see in the health bar, like here it says it's 0 angle. If we stand still, we'll jumping. Sometimes it works, sometimes it fails miserably. So, but it's a really good start. I'm a little bit worried about that jitter though. Why is that? No, stop eating my nuts. Stop eating my nuts. Yeah. Sorry, but my cat really wants to eat my nuts, and sorry, but these are peanuts. These are not cat. This is not cat food. Please. Okay, let's go on. So what could also help is to maybe set the velocity to 0, at least in the y velocity to 0, at least in this case here. See, did we break the jump? Well, jump is not broken. Oh. Once I stop hitting enter, it's going to pull me down immediately. And the good thing is, I think it is not putting me in the ground. Or it could be that it actually is putting us into the ground and just corrects our position immediately. But judging from what we can see right now, it's not doing that. So also have to make sure that we have been pressing jump, that we put was grounded to false then. And this should fix the jump issue immediately. We can now fix on the real issues here. Okay, first let's also we have this detection link, which should also help us a lot. First let's put these 3 serialized fields.
You might be right, the jitter looks like your upwards velocity pulling you up after climbing the slope.
Yeah. It maybe puts our position there. We can look into the Unity update circle what is happening after it puts us into that position, and then we can 100% say for sure what is happening there. But let's first put these serialized fields somewhere. I think we can just put them in here for now.
So many variables not like this.
Yeah, as I said, this script is the character script, and I started this basically when I started coding. This has next to 3,000 lines of code, and right now I'm waiting for GitHub to finally
oh God.
to finally give me some answers, because I have problems with my old account, because it was a university account, and the university, they changed their email address, and now I can't access my GitHub account anymore. And this is unfortunately also registered to my main email address that I don't want to change. So I'm keeping in touch and with them, and I have on my list that I need to split up this character into some really nice partial classes or something, like maybe a partial class for events, for like dying, getting damaged, for stats, for skills. So you can break down a lot of these, and there's also a lot of old code that I actually wouldn't do like that to nowadays, and yeah, it pretty much grows like that. And I've been cleaning this up already a lot, so this looked a lot worse, because back then I pretty much didn't know how to code. So this should be something between 0 and 90. So I really have to excuse myself. This is going to be better someday, but not today. The only reason I can work with this is also, and I know this because I've been working with this for years, and then you can kind of know where to look for. But you see, I'm also just looking for slope here. This is how I pretty much find anything inside of this mess here. Now nowadays in my job also, I used to split my code more and more. Now at least this is split into a lot of methods, so at least there's something. But yeah, as I said, this has to be put into partial classes. Probably going to be just 1 day or 2 to put this into partial classes. But I haven't done it yet. I've been doing a lot of stuff with the coding style, a lot of translation. A lot of the code was in German. The coding style was corrected in a lot of places, and there's a lot of work to do still. And I still don't have this on GitHub, as I said. So yeah, don't look at it.
Thankfully, I grew disinterested with the projects I did in my youth, so I never have to look at that horrible stuff.
Well, I'm not ashamed, to be honest, because I just didn't know better. So how did I learn how to do how good code looks? How to do good coding? Pretty much in my job. I had a job for my bachelor degree, working 8 hours, and there was one guy. He was an Ubuntu guy, doing his server architectures and everything. And I was coding for him, and he did code reviews. He reviewed my whole code, and he really went very deep into it. And that's how I really learned that I have to separate everything into methods. And if you have 2,800 lines of code, it's pretty much a sign for that you should split that apart into kind of sections, and that there's probably something not right with the code. But yeah, back then I didn't know that, and I was actually back then. You're just proud that hey, I have 500 lines of code, and the code is shit, but you have 500 lines. That's great. So this is prop flat ground. Just as I said, like this line of code, we do the same thing twice here. And every time you do something twice, the same line of code, later I go back into this method, change one of those lines, and everything is a mess then. So let's put these maybe in some kind of method. Why is this not working correctly? Maybe we can skip the return. Yeah, we can skip one of the returns here. If we do it like this. And else do nothing. This is a little bit. I need to leave a comment here. Not flat ground. It's not flat ground. And ground angle is high. And we don't want to do anything. So now let's take a look into the Unity update circle and see if the velocity is applied to our character after we set our position. So I think we're doing this in update, so we are starting somewhere here. Animation, callbacks, move. Okay, so we do our stuff here, and then comes the late update. Okay, I think physics are applied in fixed update. Is that correct? On animator move? No. On collision. So collisions are here's the physics update. Going to be inside of fixed update. So okay, I see what is happening. I say okay. So what's happening is we do this in update and it puts our character down here. And then between 2 frames, the velocity is still pointing us up. It's still going to put us up again and again, dragging us up, and we are putting him down again and again. I think the animator is updated between the frames. It's done in fixed update. That's why we see that the animation is jittering and not detecting that we are grounded. So yeah, probably have to do something with the velocity. So in the let's just do this for the flat ground. For the flat ground, it's really easy. You can just set the velocity to 0, the Y velocity. Put in the alt. Put in the alt X velocity and put in the 0. So this should fix the issue if we are on flat ground. Let's try to kind of test that out. If we come from a slope and we're going on a flat surface, it's jittering one time, but it's not jittering multiple frames. Oh, here we can see at the edge it's kind of behaving a little bit strange. And I saw the character going into idle animation one time. I don't know if you can see it on the stream because maybe it skips a frame. But yeah, there's one frame where we go into idle.
Oh, it sure jitters on stream.
Oh, it sure jitters. Okay, but it improved. It really improved. So why is it jittering again? So probably I don't know that. I don't know yet. Will he do that every time? I think he even does that every time. He didn't do that this time.
Where do you determine is grounded?
Before we call this function, let me show you. This is why this is pretty safe to use. Find usage. We do our ground check, and we evaluate input. Oh, yeah, we evaluate input. So this is called in. Let's see. Fixed update. They are both called in fixed update. Okay. We first determine if he's grounded. Oh, we didn't set grounded. We didn't set grounded, I think. When we put him to the ground again, we have to also tell the character, the animator, that he's grounded again. So mGrounded has to be set to true if we put him down to earth again. So this has to be done here in this. Right at the end, this will then be true. And I will have to take a quick look where we do this in the animator. Now this is going to be a pain to find. There's the animator variable, and this is probably going to be used 100 times, 92 times. Okay, now I have to determine where's this. Let me look into the ground check. Maybe it's ground check. There's also so it's not done in the ground check. That's good. So where is it set? So the animator has a boolean that is named grounded, and that will determine which animation to play. So this is going to be set bool. Ouch. Ah, there it is. And this is just if we jump, it's going to be not grounded. And it's going to do that at the end of the evaluation of the input. Now that the input is catched in fixed update. I don't. Yeah, no, that's correct because we are doing physics stuff in here, so that's actually not a bad thing. Let's try it out. Now that we have put grounded to true, it should not jitter anymore. At least when we are going from slope to flat ground. Actually, it never jitters now. Except if it fails to detect the angle. But pretty close to what I want to have. Jump seems to be alright. We're not falling down slopes. We're falling down if we start here, at least sometimes. So I also have to look into that why it's fading when we are on a slope. But for the state from the slope flat, working like 90% of the time. Oh, okay. You're making good steps at least. So I think it didn't fail at least one time when we are going from slope to flat ground. That's good. We can also use the slope to increase our jump height. Normally you just jump this high. Seems to be something off. Must have been my imagination. I think there's definitely something off. Okay, now to the next task. When we are coming from flat to an angle, what do we do then? It is not detected properly. Or what is this? Sometimes it does it perfectly well. It's quite irritating. At least on this side it seems to be working better. It's just if I start here at the edge, I think. Because then we don't have that much velocity. So this might be hard because I don't know. It's weird that if it works perfectly until the end. And I normally would expect this to maybe break at least at the end. So I think it's completely failing to detect what's happening here. So my theory is that it detects this point here, and that point is not exactly between 40 and 50 degrees. So let's just put these angle that we just defined to 0. So where do we have that? So the minimum angle, put that to 0 or 1.
How about you create a perfect 90-degree edge as well to test that?
Yeah. Let me first put that angle inside. Yeah, that's also why it's kind of stupid to have this much of code inside of a character. You pretty much can't find real variables anymore. Also, all these skill choices here, I don't know if this is good. I think it's good for testing. I can just pick them. This actually should be a list. Okay, it's not. Okay, if I change the minimum angle, it's not going to change a lot. Yeah, so that didn't fix it. Yeah, actually, I have a 90 degrees angle right over here. And here we go. Yeah, okay, that just happened. But that's because we still have this slope detection length. We can put this to maybe a more reasonable length, like maybe 1. Let's put it to 1. And then this should not happen anymore. Right. Okay. Right underneath that 90 degrees angle was a surface that was not flat. That is why we were put down immediately. So it just happened. We should also test this with different 90 degrees angles too. So let's just draw some on the ground. Default brush. It's just
also, if you do not know of naughty attributes, the library is very useful to tidy things up in the editor.
a library? I'm a little bit confused about library. I know assembly definitions, which pretty much act like libraries, but I think you want something else to point out. Point out something else.
That's it. Name naughty attributes, no joke, lol.
What the? Okay, let's look that up. So here it is with 90 degrees and degree angles. Yeah. I think it just works right now because the detection length has been cut short. Okay, let's look into not the attributes. I've been looking into fishnet tutorials, and I've been So fishnet is done for networking in Unity. It's one of the frameworks. I was stupid enough to search fishnet on YouTube, just fishnet, and yeah, I was pretty shocked that I found pretty naughty pictures. Naughty attributes. We naughty attributes for Unity. Do you mean an extension? Yeah, it's a library, okay. I assume those two are the same. Yeah, they are the same. From the same author, so I assume they are the same. But let's look that up. So, short second I have to blow my nose. I'm still a little bit, yeah, sick. I want to say I'm a sick coder.
Just scroll down and marvel in its greatness. No snotty nose cleaning clips D.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to be polite, I guess. Sorry, but yeah. So my struct struct my struct is allow nesting. Because it's nested, we need to explicitly allow nesting. Oh. Okay, nested attributes. Yeah. Oh, come on, I have to look it up. I'm a little bit too stupid right now. Allow nesting. Oh, it's something that I tried to do in a stream one time, and I did not find any way to do that.
That's just a meta attribute that makes the others work when nesting objects.
What? So here's this string param name, and he animation meta param. Is this reading out the animator? I think.
It sure is.
Yeah, it's cool. It sounds like pretty good coding practice. Method 1. Oh yeah, that's cool. So this is very, very useful if you are, especially if you are trying to write your own inspector stuff. So stuff that you normally just have use enums for that, and if you're trying to do anything beyond that, you're often left with no options there. You know what? That's maybe bookmark mark this. Make maybe Unity useful stuff. I mean, thought I had another Unity folder, but I'm not going to sort my favorites right now. Drop down. Yeah, this is useful. You can do drop downs with enums, but beyond that.
Specifically for your skill list ID, suggest the fold out attribute.
Fold out. Oh, flags. That's nice. Yeah, I think I pretty much can skip the code part and just look at the pictures. Something that even stupid people like me can understand. And with stupid, I mean clever enough to code. Scriptable object. Ah, okay. Okay, just some lines. Visual stuff, I guess. I'm a little confused. Oh yeah, it's horizontal line, and then it's the public and red. So red has nothing to do with this. Yeah, okay. Info box. Also nice. It's a lot of stuff going on here. Huge. Didn't expect that many options here, and it kind of feels like that should be inside of Unity.
Exactly.
Especially now I did code, yeah, in August, September, my first own tool in the editor, and now I didn't do an own inspector yet, but that would be come in very handy if I would ever want to publish it. And reorder and reorderable list. That's cool. It's actually something that can be used in a lot of cases, especially if you want to provide something to other people, some kind of custom tool where you don't know what people are going to do with that, and maybe they want to delete an element in between. It would become really handy. Well, yeah, reorder. Resizable text area. Scene. Hey, that's cool. It would be. This is very useful for my scene loader. But so in the game right now, you enter a zone, and then you just have to provide an integer to a class, and this is going to be the next scene, and this would make it pretty way easier. Pretty much. Show as a preview, and this is the only thing that I think I would never go. I'm not going to use. Native property. Okay. I think the example here is a little bit weird, because you can pretty much see this size here, and then you also have this integer that says the same thing, but yeah. Show non-serialized field. Yeah, that's nice if you don't want to use the debug mode for specific things, but you also don't want the user to set something. So that's true. I actually have to recommend it later for a project I'm working on my job. How useful. Sorting layer, yeah. Heck, yeah. Yeah, that's self-explanatory. Box group. Folder. Okay, you said folder is useful for my group of abilities, for my skill set. Yeah, definitely. Oh, come on, why did you say that? Let's write this into the to-do list. I cannot leave it like that. No, let's just go into Excel. I've had subset to-do list, and this to-do list is for every small step which is not big enough, like do networking. Networking would be
assuming the
a big
stream
step.
is still running. Something on my end just died. I guess that's it for me today. Dunno why gonna restart.
Okay, I think it should be back. Now, on my side, I don't see it. I'm going to refresh now. Okay, I see my stream again. Okay, so, but still, thank you for joining in.
Spreadsheet.
Yeah, this is where I'm going to put in your library, or just, what's it's the library of Mr. D.B. Rizov, Dennis Rizov, and it really looks like a really useful library. So use naughty attributes for player skills. Would be very useful and looks really easy to deploy. And thank you a lot, because yeah, that's something that I really am missing out sometimes. Doing everything solo, even at my job, I'm pretty much working alone, at least on my level. You often miss the opportunity to learn great new stuff, and I actually enjoy it more to work with people who are more talented than me, and learn from them and get some skill of them, like leeching all that skill that you actually need. But yeah, sometimes we can't have that. And thank you a lot. So I think you're a very, very skilled developer, or at least you know a lot.
I'm also the sole Unity dev for my part-time job, so I know that feeling.
Yeah. And I remember the time when I was just a little student and someone was teaching me all the stuff and telling me everything that was bad about my code. And I really enjoyed that part. For maybe that is some kind of sadism, but nowadays I do that to other people. And I'm actually just often admit that I myself don't think that I'm that good, but yeah, in programming you have such a learning curve, and I feel like it never ends. At least I know that I can do everything that I want to, and that there's no end to that, but I need a lot of time once it gets complicated. Okay, but thank you a lot for joining so far. So yeah, I'm going to close knock the attributes. What? Well, I'm nearly to the end. To the end. Come on. Let's go. Enable, disable. Oh, okay. Don't know how that works. It is so you can't edit the integer if you toggle that button. Or is it then null? I don't know.
You just can't edit it.
I can't edit it. It's actually useful because if you look how prefabs work, so I have the problem with prefab variants. So you have things like the type of, let's say, type object, type physical object, an object that can fall, and then you have a lot of different objects that fall into the category, and you define a prefab for that. And you actually define a lot of integers and want to have them in your base prefab, but then you want people to keep people from editing that variable by accident, or by just not knowing that you shouldn't edit it, and then it will be edited for every object in the whole game when you're working with people together. So this could be very useful in that case. On the flip side, if you're stupid and you just toggle that button and change that variable, you can still mess around with that. Let's not say stupid, you just don't know what is going to happen and test it out. So you can also hide things and label. Very long name. Oh yeah, is it if you go with your mouse over that? Oh no, short name. Very okay, I get it. Yeah, sometimes the name is hidden there. Yeah. I don't know if that is going to come in handy though, ever. Probably there's a case, yeah. Here's some callback things. So this is done. This is running in editor mode. But I don't know if it's in one time. So it sounds like it's only in editing, and then you change something in the inspector, and then you want to maybe update some other value with that. But later in one time, you're doing other stuff with that. Okay, seems nice. Read only. Okay. I think this sounds redundant. I'm not diving into that now. Min max. Okay, this is the same as you do with basically range, but maybe with a different kind of field where you can do that. Set off the slider. Okay. It seems more like a style choice though. Yeah, that's nice if you want to give it maybe two. If you want to give some kind of component to your 3D artist. Now the 3D artist does some stuff with it, and he pretty much doesn't know which fields he has to set and which are not. Oh, the most powerful validator attribute. So yes, this is my end. I don't really see where he has that connection from my end to those two methods. Oh, I see. No. This is pointing to this method. This is pointing to this message. Okay, method. Okay, yeah. Okay, now that makes sense. And then you're going to display that error message. Okay, fair enough. That's pretty strong. So, yeah, as I said, use it for player skills, and yeah, I could could maybe use it for other things as well, but
Use it everywhere. D.
use it everywhere, yeah. That was what I was thinking just right now. Like, I do have most things ordered somehow. The skill text, for example. And inside of that, okay, yeah, that's pretty old code. I have text inside of these global variables instead of inside of the string variable. It's pretty ineffective. Still works. So if I would have done this with not the attributes in mind, I would have been able to do this in a way more efficient way, where you can maybe just click on the skill text and have your skills, and then you can open up all these informations that you can read about the skills. I think that should be possible with is it also fold out? Yeah, I think that's the stuff that looks to be much better. On the flip side, back then when also I have to excuse it, back then when I did write this, I just didn't, I barely knew how to do that stuff somehow in Unity. Makes a lot of sense, because this is not dynamic. This is absolutely not dynamic. Now these should be maybe a struct. They're pretty much a struct, because they also hold information for images. Now this is information about each skill, like how the skill is named, a short description, and each skill has
Looks like a typical use case for scriptable objects.
Yep. And then you would open up these scriptable objects and maybe have them in some kind of list, like then it would be nice to be able to reorder them in a reorderable list and so on. And with this, the structure I have right now, this is pretty much hard coded right now. If I want to, for example, flip skill 7 and 6, I pretty much have to put up the value of each field here and put it in, copy paste this, put it inside of this field. Will be very painful. Oh no. If I would want to flip them, I would just do that and rename them. But still, it's not nice. It's not nicely done here. No excuses, just facts. But slope. Let's focus on slopes yet, because let's not leave slopes open and stop working on slopes, because this project is basically so big that I could work on it for forever, and I still don't know where I will pretty much pull the plug, say okay, thank you. Not further than it. It's working so far. It's working well. It's not nice code, but it's also not the worst code. So especially except for the player. The player is the worst thing that I have done here. And if I clean that up, actually can say that most of the code is okay. There's some older parts that are still, yeah. Well, there are some stuff in the game controller that is not okay too. That's pretty much not dynamically done. But I'm learning. Where was I? Oh, low. Let's go back. I think it's just at the bottom, yeah.
Do you have any finished games, or do you keep chewing on this one until it's ready and perfect in 20 years, Kappa?
Actually, I've released this a year ago on Steam, the Bloody Lane. But now I say, okay, it was a bullshit idea. Because I think I've put so much work into drawing all this stuff that I'm very hesitant to make a new game. And that's why I'm working on the same game forever. A weird choice, but I just wasn't there so far that I could leave the game on in its state like that. That's what keeps me going. No, I don't have any other finished game. Or do I? Not really.
The sunk cost fallacy.
So I also pretty much set my goal to first just stream 100 times, work on this game, and after I've done 100 streams, then I can evaluate much further. But I also think that you shouldn't quit too early, and it's also that I just work in the evening, night, pretty much night right now in Germany, and I do work out every day, so I don't have too much time to actually do my code. And this is also, I don't want to make an excuse right now, but I don't have that many hours left then to code. Actually today I came home, took care a little bit for my cats, ate something, and then I started coding as soon as I could get there. And pretty much in 1 hour, I will have to stop and go to bed, to pretty much get out of my bed tomorrow very soon and start at my job again. But it's fine for me. It's just that I can't have a lot of relations. Due to the state I am in. At least I would need a relation where relation to people where I do a lot of sports with them. I do in the sport club. I do a sport called Jugger, and those are pretty much my best friends right now, because I meet them twice every week. That's pretty much it when it comes to relations for me right now. So we have this state not on slope, and now we have this if clause. If we come to a downward slope, we were grounded, we are now in the air and have to be put down. Now the Unity update circle, since this is called in fixed update, should actually show us on the ground the whole time. So somewhere this is failing. This is failing somewhere. What's to say? Now, at the moment, the slow minimum angle is 1. So in that case, so we also need to cover 1. It's rounding for some reason. What we can also do is increase this angle a little bit. Now, as I said, I'm still not sure why it's sometimes failing to detect the correct state at all when we are going from the flat ground to a slope state. It seems like sometimes the algorithm just doesn't work for some reason. Just put this to 90 degrees and see what happens. Now it should not fail related to the angle, and it still fails here. I didn't jump. So it's not the actual angle. When it's working fine, it's really working nice. But sometimes it just refuses to work. Could also increase the range. Put this to 5. Shouldn't change anything. It doesn't do anything. Because 1 is already much bigger than we normally should see. So my theory is that it... No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So if it's working correctly, it just puts us on the ground on each frame.
Time for some debug printouts.
The problem is I don't even know what to debug here. Yeah, maybe what it is detecting. So we can at least see at the maximum health here that it kind of detected that there's something going in. However, the maximum health is working with the old algorithm. It's using the 3 ground detectors on our feet, and I think that ground detection sounds nice in theory, and I'm going to keep it for a while. But I'm going to code it up out eventually, because the slope detection that we have right now is pretty solid, and I don't like to use 2 systems for basically the same thing. And that's not the problem. You should debug log this. Also, something that's missing in this game is an own logger. But I actually never had the need for that. Yeah. The other side, why would I write my own logger if I don't ever see the need to have one? So maybe I will write my own logger when I see an obscure bug in the executable file in the executable. Oh, whatever. Let's focus on the problem right now before I go too far into code practices. As I said, you can also not write perfect code. We just don't have the time. And also with the skills that I just showed you, I'm not sure if I'm going to correct them or not, because at some point I want to say, okay, I'm finished. Yeah, I've worked for on this for years.
I can't just switch to Rust and have perfect code. Oh, you mean
to Rust? Is it really that perfect? Now, Rust has, let's look that up. But Rust has great documentation, friendly compiler with useful error messages, and top-notch tooling. I actually have never used Rust. Let's look into the code and then go on.
it just has good memory management, but it's obviously not Magic D, mostly a stereotype of Rust proponents.
No. Yeah, good memory management. That's something that actually something that I never loved to take care of. Just garbage collection in general reminds me a lot of C programming, where you really do a lot of.
We have the garbage collector who takes care for us, D.
Well, hopefully he will. Hopefully. There's a lot of stuff that you can do in programming languages, and I also would like to try out Unreal or Godot and other engines, other languages. But why do I stick to C# and Unity? Pretty much because I want to go deeper first, and I just got used to that, and I pretty much don't see any reason to switch. If I would switch to another engine, I would have to relearn everything, start from the beginning again. I could go deeper way faster than I did in Unity, but yeah, it kind of feels like, for at least for me, like I should be doing something in the depth, not trying too many things at once. On the flip side, you can see I'm a little bit stupid because I only know how to do things in Unity then. But so let it be.
Can recommend looking into Godot as I dislike C. I'll never be happy with Unreal though.
Yeah, I also dislike C++. That's the main reason why I did not go into Unreal Engine so far. Is because I dislike C++, and last time I checked out their documentation, it wasn't good at all. You go into your files, you see a lot of code is there that basically doesn't do stuff. It's just automatically generated in there, and you can just ignore that code, and I don't think that's a good style. On the other side, C++ coders basically say they are master race. But whatever, I don't care. So let's say in this case, damn, what do I want to debug log here? I don't even know where to start. I just debug log this, yeah. It will tell me that it's at some point detected that it's on a upwards or downward slope. Right, on the upward slope, we don't want to do anything. I think when we are going into upward slope, everything is working fine. If we are going into upward slope, only downward slopes are the unsolved mystery that we have to see as well. Downward slope detected, and then we could just maybe use the time. What else do we want? No slope detected. Okay. So these are the two cases that seem to be of interest right now. Let's look into the console. Hopefully this will not be debugged 1,000 times. Detected ground. That's from somewhere else. Now it triggered downward slopes. It worked correctly this time. Okay, let's try to fail. Come on, fail. So it failed. Does it say no slope detected? Not one time. Back my mouse. Come on. No? Okay, no slope detector was not triggered one time. Okay, so there could be two cases. Either it goes into this state, sets the correct position. Oh, so it was grounded. Oh no, was grounded is then also set to true. Oh no, it's not set to true. Okay, then we have to set was grounded. Forgot about that one. So basically what's happening there is it's only going to be correct every second frame because was grounded was not set up every time. And that actually fixed the issue. Nearly fixed the issue. Okay, that fixed it harder than I thought it would. That looks pretty interesting. I think it... What's that? Something was wrong when I was jumping here.
Now it's just the Y velocity making it jittery again.
Yeah. So we should just apply a little bit of Y velocity and call it a day, I think. I'm a bit surprised that it works that good. I did not expect it to, because it was wrong every second frame, it would just then stop working at all. Okay, so now we would have to just give the character more Y velocity. Now as one case where I think, what if we have this kind of slope, and we have positive, we need to go into negative. Do we want the character then to jump above the cliff? Just like a ramp? It's completely wrong in any physical way. Yeah, let's just ignore that. So let's basically I don't know. Let's maybe write a new Y velocity. New Y velocity equal to our current one. And then let's just subtract something and cap it. So how would I know which velocity is good to naturally slide us down. Oh, there's another problem here. I think it's not too much of a good idea to have this be a high value. So if we push the character down, he's going to be faster. Now that wouldn't be a problem. But this can go down to suddenly we are very, very fast. So we need to kind of cap this. So just say, start with a really low value. And it's also not do anything at all, if we are hitting some kind of cap. So we don't make our character go infinitely fast when he's on an downward slope. So if this is bigger than minus, I don't know, what would be a good measurement? Kind of have to test this out in the game. Test it out with our current settings. It will just say something like 0. Because we are not really using velocity to keep our character down. I don't know, it's a felt value, let's just create another serialized field. It's not going to have a range. Max down slope y velocity, and it's going to be -5 at the start, and then we will just have to find it out with the slider. No, it's not a slider. Input field. This value, we could also apply this in the inspector. Yeah, okay, let's do it. This plus downwards slope vector, and we have to also do this times time delta time, and then it should actually be correct. Now, if I would see that somebody does this and then just uses a value times delta time, I wouldn't insist that he makes this the serialized field, but because now we have a lot of serialized fields that we are pretty much not going to touch after we test them out. And it's going to start at 0.1 minus 0.1. Yeah, that has nothing to do with the character. Let's keep testing it out. Maybe it's not jittery now. Maybe. But that would be too good to be true. And I have to stop clicking on the scale every time. Come on, move. Yields natural. Oh, there's a small jitter at the start of going down a slope. You can also see it in the trail. Yeah, it's pretty nice that we have a trail right there. So this kind of trail is just for an ability that we have charged up right now. And so I'm going to delete all these debug messages. Debug. We also don't need the way anymore. Do we need the slope angle? Yeah, we work with the slope angle. Don't need to set our health anymore. So we can start deleting debug things.
We do still need semicolon though.
Who needs a semicolon? Code, I guess.
D.
So what was I doing? So I think I actually don't need to do anything in the code anymore. I have to find out good values for the serialized fields. So in the end we were going down a straight line. So I think we just have to decrease the downward slope factor and it should be fine. So this should then reach -5 very fast, like pretty much in one frame. Oh no, it's scaling with delta time. Okay, it's not it. Let's just try out a ridiculously high value for that, and a low value for that, and see if it actually does anything. No, it doesn't do anything. Didn't solve the problem.
Do you add or subtract that value?
I add it. It's added. That's actually something that I did. Plus. I add that value times delta time. Yeah. So, but it's kept with the max downslope velocity. So that's the next value that I would try to make just really ridiculously low. And now we can see if they even do anything. What I expect to happen is that we just slide down the slopes immediately now. And actually nothing happens. Okay. I guess they are not small enough now. It's not small enough. Okay. Now if nothing happens, if we don't slide down the slopes immediately now. Okay, so they do something. It looked like we are going upwards or downwards. Let me check that up again. They're both negative. Downward slope vector. Downward.
Might just be Unity pushing the rigid body away from the collision.
It's pretty clever, yeah. So let's try 10,000. Yeah, so yeah, if we collide with the ground with an nearly infinite amount of force, we will be pushed up with an infinite amount of force. Yeah, okay, so it's doing something and we just have to find the right values. It just seems that one of the values has to be extremely low. I actually don't need to hit play and play every time. I can just do this while playing. Remember the values and then put them in. So now we are going down too fast. Let's put this to 100. Yeah, it's still going down too fast, like Sonic. Yay. Okay. Then let's put in -10. -10 is still too fast. -5. Still too fast. -1. Okay, my keyboard is not working.
I'd probably leave the max pretty low and just tweak the factor.
Yeah. But how low should you go? I'm still a little bit irritated because -1 should not be that fast. Something's wrong with my keyboard. It's not detecting my inputs. What? One time it did go down very fast. I think the slope factor is just too high, and if you have a low frame rate, then it's just going over the top. So we have to make sure that we, after we apply the downward slope factor, we don't go over the maximum downslope while velocity. Yeah. That's a problem. That's one problem. The second one is that we still haven't found good values. So after we apply this value, we still have to cap it. We still have to cap it if the new Y velocity is now bigger than our maximum. Then say this is going to be equal to our maximum. Or should we just break it?
Don't you mean smaller?
That was... First of all, this should be named minimum, not maximum. No. Maximum negative. Is that a minimum? No, it's actually a maximum. Maximum negative.
On the stream is gone again.
Oh no.
Oh no. Also, my first oh no did not come through.
Yeah, they are. We are back again. So I guess it's just not a good day to stream tonight. Not a good night to stream tonight. But it's a good.
I'll see you next time, the Illuminati.
Okay, but aside from that, it's always a good night to code. Da-da-dum. See you next time, Illuminati. I will do another 10 minutes, and then I will just pretty much finish and try to get some sleep. And yeah, I think tomorrow I will try to get to work. Still don't know if there's something getting. I'm not promising anything. I'm just trying my best. And yeah, thank you for helping me so much. And yeah, as I said, I think you're a pretty good coder. So if this happens, I want to break. He'll break. So this oh. And I don't want to do anything. I have to put this inside and then turn this around. Okay, let me think. If this is bigger than the maximum negative, then we want to make it smaller. And then we want to apply it. Else, if our well, there's two cases here. So the first case is if our velocity y is already bigger. Okay, then we are not going. This is already kept. God damn it. Hey Luna, what's up? Wanna join me? I don't make any sense today. But I have a nice, really nice function here. You will like it. And I really wish I would have a second cat cam. Now you can't see Luna, but she's on the desk right now and she's beautiful. She's really a beautiful cat. So if this is smaller, you're right. You were right, Dino. This is equal to the maximum, and we're done with that. And let's just check it out. So now we have, I think I did not put in ridiculously low numbers right now. Oh, I did. So now we are not speeding down anymore. Go lower again. It kind of works. Yeah, no, it absolutely works. It absolutely works. No problems. Did you see that? It works. That's great. So I pretty much have to do the cleanup now. First of all, I have to find the best value. So this is fine right now. And now just go on, give me my mouse. Find the value. It should be somewhere between 10 and 14. Okay, let me try out 5 again. -5. Just a little bit hard to do without my mouse. Okay, -7 is not enough. What about -8.5? Not enough. So -9.5. I think minus 10 is a good value. Yeah. -10.5. -10.5 seems to be the optimal value. Or about the optimal. Okay, let's keep that in mind and just put it in. And let's see. I think it's still not safe. Let's go for -12. And I think this factor has to remain like that. So we pretty much immediately go down to -12. Okay, so what else can we do here? Okay, the next thing that we can try is to decrease this value, the second value, and see what happens. Okay, if we now increase this value, it's jittering again. Put this to 1000. It's working fine. Okay, so the second value is not that important. Now let's apply all these values and play in maximum size. Just to look at this at a good frame rate. Maybe I did overlook something. What the hell? Dock area has been... It's a Unity area error. Let's just jump here a little bit and try to break this. It doesn't seem to break. I think something feels off. That could be due to the jump conditioning. Yeah. But yay, now you stick to the ground if you're not jumping, and you can use the velocity of the slope. Normally I would still be able to see the ground if I'm jumping up. And if I use the slope, I'm using that velocity to increase the height of my jump. So that's nice. Another thing that is interesting is that cliff here also working just fine. Yeah, that's nice. So everything seems to be fine. And now we go to the part where we test this on some kind of uneven ground that is a little bit more fuzzy. So, and we have fortunately a really good case already in the test level. You can just try that out. Let's see what happens. And we just stick to the ground. It's nice. Feels nice. When I jump, I still jump. There's no issue. Kind of feels like a little bit wrong here, but he sticks to the ground all the time. But it's useful, it's useful. Oh, that's interesting. Works on this slope. Or does it? Sometimes it doesn't. So here we can change the detection length. Yeah. So if I start here, he will get down, will get pushed down immediately. You can kind of see if you pay attention to the animation that he never was in a jumping state. So we have to take care of that slope. And if we do that, we will have taken care of all the cases that are important. And I think this slope even is not very happening a lot in the game. So this is one of the rare edge cases. And fortunately, we can just say, hey, let's decrease our detection length, and now it should not fail anymore. Yeah. But this is going to let us fly every time. Yeah. Feeling right. We stick to the... So it did fly here, yeah. It's kind of frame dependent. It's the only weakness, it's kind of frame dependent. Now, on a low frame rate, because it could fail, the entire algorithm could fail on the high frame rate. A low frame rate. Because of this. But trying to fix that is going to be a pain in the butt. So what do we do? And just accept the fact that if we are on the very low frame rate, it's going to be janky anyways. And try to maximize the cases where it works very well. Now here with this length, it seems to work fine always, almost all of the, yeah, every time. Down, it works. Now what would happen on a very low frame rate? In the first frame we would be in this position. The second frame we would be standing somewhere over here. And then we would still be pulled down to the ground. It would still work, yeah. Not that frame dependent actually. Because in our position, the velocity will still be considered. That's not... let's just try to maximize that value, and then I will make my end statement with philosophy of Marcus Aurelius. Now it works as intended in this case. Good. I feel it's kind of odd that it's doing this till 90 degrees. Let's put this down to 80. Try out 9.5 here. And now it practically will never break. And if it breaks, then our FPS are probably going to be that low that the game is going to be unplayable. Was something odd with the jump? Oh, we had a double jump here. So something's wrong when I go left and right in the air. I think we have drag. Let's take a look. The character drag. Play in normally and pay attention to the linear drag value. I think there's something going on there when we are jumping. Everything else, the slope detection, slope handling, perfectly fine. And could you please not scroll up to the platform character 2D as script every time? Yeah, we just saw it. Yeah, there was something jittering in the angular drag when we are just in the air. So we need to stop that from happening. So, okay. But we're going to end the stream nonetheless, because it's going to be late in. I'm not going to fix the last issues. So, thank you for tuning in so far, and I hope you had a wonderful day, that your new year is going to be strong. It was strong already, and that you have a wonderful time in the new year, going to fulfill all of your life goals, of course, and a wonderful, nice time. I have done a lot of work today on the slope detection. It feels much better now. Still there's some janky stuff going on there. It will have to be fixed next time. But I'm very positive that with cleaning up the code and looking at how the old slope detection is going to be removed and replaced by the new one, and then we can pretty much look into this stuff by settling there, and then when we are jumping, and I think that will just entirely fix the issue. So I don't worry about that too much. So I said when we do the slope detection correctly, or quote something from Marcus Aurelius. He said, every morning when he's getting up, he has this kind of dialogue with himself, which goes like this. I need to get up, it's early in the morning, and he kind of has his dialogue with himself. He says, but it's warm under the blanket. And he said, no, but I want to get up, need to do my work. But it's comfortable out here and you still have time. And he argues, am I born to be comfortable? Am I there to be warm and comfy? No, I was born to do my stuff and things that really matter. And sometimes lately, really think back to this quote like, not a small task to do. In between those tasks, I often took some time to relax and maybe watch some news, read some stuff. But that was with the thing in mind to just have a work-life balance and a short break between things. But sometimes I actually overdo it. I think I have to keep in mind that, yeah, I was born to be comfortable and to have it nice and comfy. And that really pushed me a little bit to use my time more effectively. And I still say you should have a work-life balance and fight for having just some minutes every day where you have fulfilled all your tasks first, and then you can just relax and do whatever you want. And that's also my kind of dreams, to someday have all my projects finished and then just chill out and do my stuff, whatever. Do other important stuff. Yeah, maybe just play some games. That would be great. Just to have the luxury to be a little bit more leisure with myself. Still never going to stop working at all. I will code my whole life and make games after my job, and if I lose my current job, I'm going to code for myself again, or find a new one, because I have to feed myself. Depends on my situation then. But until then, because I don't want to give up, I will want to do a lot of awesome coding, awesome game. At least this game here, I want to do this until I really say, hey, I really want to be proud of this, at least on some part. And to do that, I have to stick to my gut, to my methods, and keep coding, keep trying to squeeze out those hours that I need to code every day, here and there. And yeah, actually, I'm doing that a lot, and hopefully I will keep doing that, so that in the end I can ultimately succeed in having a great game. So far, I need to keep in mind to use my time well. That also means stop talking and go to bed soon. Goodbye, and have a strong new year.
When a humble bard graced a ride along with Geralt of Rivia, along came this song. From when the White Wolf fought a silver-tongued devil, his army of elves at his hooves did they revel. They came after me with masterful deceit, broke down my loot and they kicked in my teeth, while the devil's horns minced the tender meat. So cried the witcher, he can't be beat.